And that's where, beyond photo and video, I got to ask you, because I know about the latest venture. We've just talked about it. You've been in property management for some time.
Yeah.
And now the hot topic is Airbnbs.
Yeah.
And you're doing those as well.
Yeah, the Airbnbs are fun. It's I always liked there was a show, and I think it was like Vacation Property or something like that, but they did the math, and you hope that you buy a condo or a house and that it cash flows or it's neutral. I don't think that happens in Toronto. But the nicest thing about cottages, I love cottages, especially as a businessman now. It's like, you want to like work hard and then go away for the weekend. I don't have one yet, but I got a buddy that has one, and I love that lifestyle, and I love being by the water. And so it's super romantic idea to have this vacation home and to also be able to make money with it and to secure your future. There's I was watching some videos and people say like you just need like 3 properties in Canada, and then that's your retirement. That's all you need, and you can retire. And to build that with Airbnb and to make sure like it's just more problems to solve. You want to make sure that people can get in remotely. You need to make sure cleaners are there. You need to make sure you have tradespeople. You got to make sure that there's a phone number that they can call. And so like to provide that all for somebody that wants to buy this property that they couldn't otherwise afford, to make that happen, to make them happy, to make guests happy, and to hear them as well, like that's a super fun and fulfilling job, and I really like doing that. So if anybody wants more, I would love more clients. If anybody wants help with managing their Airbnb, that's what we do at Grain Property Management, and it's super fun.
I will be telling people that, and I tell them every episode, hit that subscribe button, notification bell, comment on the videos. You've heard things today, you agree, disagree. We love the feedback. We love interacting with the people. People send all sorts of funny comments.
Yeah.
I give them funny comments back. I usually want me responding, actually, because I llove it.
Yeah.
They're like, why is this person on my screen? Get off of here. Why is this 90-year-old man? I'm like, I think I look good for 90.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to love those hecklers.
Oh, yeah.
But we will have your contact information, certainly, and in any respect of things that you do, Cole. I highly encourage people to work with you because you're just freaking amazing.
Thank you.
And I got to ask you because, it's funny. Like I know, for example, let's say you have a client that purchased a condo unit.
Yeah.
And they have a long-term tenant in there, 1 year plus.
Yeah.
What are we doing there? Like, versus an Airbnb, okay, we got to pay the maintenance fee. We got to make sure the property taxes are paid. They got to pay their mortgage.
Yeah.
Got to make sure we're collecting the rent once a month.
Yeah.
If they have any questions or something breaks, but Airbnb is 1,000 times as much work than having a long-term.
Yeah, it's a lot tougher. Like we would charge like maybe 10% for like a condo or a house, and it's a long-term tenant, and we're covering those risks that you say, but also if the tenant stops paying, we handle the forms that need to go out. We will help find you a new one. We'll vet the tenant, so hopefully you don't deal with anything bad like that. Airbnb, oh my God, like the wear and tear, you don't want it to mess up the house, so you need cleaners there all the time, and it's almost like an Airbnb is like an even better property than a home, because a home, like, maybe you're not cleaning it all. There's a professional cleaner in there almost every day, or at least between every visit. Stuff goes bad. Maybe there's a leak. Maybe somebody gets locked out of something. Maybe the power is out, or the switch needs the breaker switch needs to be fixed, or if somebody locks themselves out, or I'm trying to think of like some of the worst case scenarios. We had one with a really bad, the water got backed up and then it started leaking. And then we had to like dispatch people. We found out, I think, 7 p.m. So there's just way, way, way more possible bad outcomes that happen with an Airbnb. And it's nothing to be scared of when you're doing it. It's also having a cottage. It's an older property. It's not in a building that's maintained. So it's got to be maintained. And we handle all that, and it's not much more expensive. I think it's well, you can email us for that, and we'll go through that.
But not to dissuade people, obviously. But it's funny because people who aren't in it, there's 2 groups. Yeah. There's the ones that say, "Oh, it's the easiest money on the planet to do rentals. It's free money. It's got to do nothing." And then they say that about long-term rentals, and they say that about Airbnbs. Yeah. Other ones like, "Oh, it's so scary. So much can go wrong. It's not for me. I don't like risk."
Yeah.
And it's funny, you crunch the numbers.
Yeah.
If you're in a jurisdiction where you got an Airbnb, if let's say it's a little detached house, for example, and you can rent it out to somebody, let's say for $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
If you're in an area touristy and you can Airbnb the thing, like you're looking at potentially 10 times the amount of income, potential, 5 times at least.
At least 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times as much.
It's astronomical. Yeah. But on the same token, you hear these horror stories in the media where somebody rented as a long-term tenant They went and put up walls and they created a boarding house.
Yeah.
You have ones where the people don't pay their rent and the tribunal's backed up and you can't kick the person out. You hear all these kind of things in Airbnb.
Grow-ops, there's
all grow-ops.
Yeah.
And then you have Airbnbs and there's parties and trashing and this and that. But you know what I always tell people, don't get too fascinated with what the media says, because they're looking for the one bad instant and they're trying to make it seem like that's all of them.
Yeah.
You know, I've stayed at like 30 Airbnbs in my life and I love it, you know. I get to, and I do my research. I know which ones are the good looking ones. I check out I vet the host ahead of time. I read their reviews. I look at the area they're in, you know, and I've never had nothing but a good experience, basically.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. But I can only imagine, and when I heard you're into that as far as managing side of things,
yeah,
there's a lot of communications, right? People with strange requests, I'm sure, and making sure it flows. And what happens if the cleaner doesn't show up?
Yeah, somebody's got to be available at all times.
Last minute booking.
Yeah.
And the ones I've heard from people is when you have somebody check out, check in at the same day.
Yeah.
Now, we're running a Sheraton here. We have the cleaning crew going.
Yeah.
When we're running an Airbnb, it's not so simple, right?
Yeah, it's high stakes. You want to make sure everything's looking good. You want good reviews. You can't really afford to give someone a bad stay. And so like it's a lot more work, and all profit is derived from risk. That's one of my favorite sayings. And it's not just financial risk, but you know, you need to have somebody available there, which means either you have someone on payroll or on call. And if you have one or two properties like this, if you're the type that likes to keep busy and talk to people, then it's no pain at all. But if you don't like that stuff and you already work hard and you want to spend time with family, the nice thing about having a business and staff is we've reached critical mass where it's no problem. Somebody's going to answer that phone. We have cleaners we can reach out to. We have hungry tradespeople that want work. Like those problems get solved easy. But if it's just you and it's, you know, I'm a plumber, but I also have this place and I don't want to worry about it, or like it can ruin your life because now you have two jobs and you're not very skilled in this, and maybe you don't like, you know, organizing all of these people coming in and out and making sure like, yeah, that when they check out at 11 and that next person's coming in at 4 and you know somebody's asking to check out late and somebody's asking to come in early, it can get tight, and you want to be nice to everybody and you want to make sure everybody's having a good time, but keeping a firm ground and making sure they understand that the cleaners got to go in there. Like, you know, it's definitely complex and fun, and I think it's worth the, you know, call it 5x versus a long-term rental.
I will tell you the one horror story I had from a hotel perspective. And it's funny because people say all the Airbnb horror stories.
Yeah.
And I've only had really great experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell people, you think that hotels are safe and everything else. I'll tell you the one story. If I didn't live this, I wouldn't even believe it.
Really?
So I went to Montreal one time for a weekend.
Yeah.
I checked in very, very late. It was like late afternoon and early evening. Yeah. I'm exhausted. I come into the room. And it's a very luxury hotel, like very, very luxury. So, and I've stayed there before, and I like the area, easy parking. It's very accessible. And if anybody's ever gone to Montreal, Quebec, Canada, if you're staying in the core downtown in a nice hotel, it ain't easy getting rooms, period, and in a nice place. Yeah. So I check in, I go straight into bed, I go to sleep. Yeah. It's now 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I wake up, and I've slept in a bad period. Like, you know, it's like now I'm in no man's land, but I'm like, okay, at least I got because I was exhausted.
Yeah.
I turn on the lights, and first thing I see, my bed sheet is covered in blood all over. And I'm like, oh my Lord, somebody's taken my kidney or something. Like, I'm freaking out. Like, I figured I was bleeding all over.
Yeah.
There's no blood on me.
Oh.
I start touching the sheet. It was dried blood.
Oh.
I call up right away to the front desk, and I said, don't even bother coming. Send the manager immediately. And I said, the manager, right?
Yeah.
I said to him, take a look at this bed. He's like, what did you do? I said, I slept in it. That's it. I explained to him the story.
Yeah.
I said, how is this humanly possible for a cleaner to see this covered in blood, think it's washed, and let's just put it out on the, and he had no answers. Like, it was just like, you know, it blew his mind. So they looked after me at the end of it.
Yeah.
But it goes to show you, there's never guarantees anywhere in life wherever you're staying.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, in fact, when you're going to go to an Airbnb, somebody's going to go above and beyond, in fact.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're no longer just a number. Like the people that I know that host,
yeah,
this is their baby. Like they depend on it, and they're going above and beyond. They're like, I'm going to leave little gifts, and I'm going to make sure, and I'm going to put sites and attractions for people to go to. Yeah. Like, it's the kind of things you don't get at hotels. So it's quite cool.